Okay, so I'm already getting quite a few emails from people about this quiz that you took on Friday, the Module 1 site quiz about retakes. I do not allow retakes, so I will not be administering any retakes for this quiz. But what I will do is I will make the quiz out of 10 points instead of 15. So that will benefit you by adding 5 points to your grade. So if you got, let's say you got like 12 out of 15, now you will have earned over 100% on the quiz because your new grade will be 12 out of 10, okay? I also was very clear that you could only take this quiz on Friday. And if you forgot about taking it after Friday, I would not reopen it, and I'm sticking to that. If you forgot to take the quiz on Friday, I'm sorry, but it is closed and you won't be able to take it. Okay. Okay, a couple of other things regarding late. So if you were late to class, we got some new information from the district, which is actually coming down from our state government about attendance. And so the first thing I wanted to let you guys know is that from now on, if you are over 10 minutes late to a class, you will be marked late on Aries. So I've had it before where people will show up like 15 minutes late to class, and we were instructed for a while just to give you the attendance, but we are officially marking lates now. And the next thing to pay attention to, this is really important. Like I said, we're doing attendance differently now. And one of the other ways that we're doing it differently is that we're not just marking you present, we're also marking you present for engagement. And what that means for this class is that our due dates are going to change to reflect the current day that they were assigned. And that will be part of your attendance, is your engagement in those lessons. So let me be clear about that. I will assign you something just like I normally do, but the difference is that it's no longer due on that coming Friday, it's due the day of. And you having turned that into Google Classroom will be your engagement attendance. And this is important because this is information that's going to be sent to the district as well as to your parents. So your parents are now going to know whether or not you are actually engaging in a lesson, or if you are just signing in and walking away, or you're signing in and you're goofing around on the computer. Okay, so those are the important notes, new things to be aware of. I'm going to stop before I move on though and see if anybody has any questions about any of the information that I've discussed so far. So right now would be a good time to write any questions or comments, concerns in the chat that you might have. Okay, I'm not seeing anything, so I'm going to move on. The first thing I'm going to do today is go over the Module 1 site quiz. I'm just going to quickly go through the questions and answers with you so that you are aware of maybe something that you got incorrect, and just to clear anything up. And then I'm going to introduce the activity for today. Okay, so Module 1, the first question that you were asked was, when analyzing a garden site, you will want to find out more about the sites, ... And this is a check all that apply. Climate, soil, sun, and specific conditions were all correct. Okay. So these were all the 4 main things that we went over regarding site. Number 2, why should a gardener use the USDA hardiness zone map when analyzing their site? And the reason that they would want to use this map is to figure out what plants would be best to plant based on their region. Okay, so remember we use that map to figure out when the lowest temperature is on average per year, and that helps us figure out what kind of plants we want to plant in our garden. Just a second. Okay. According to the USDA hardiness zone map, San Diego is located in zone 10. Zone 10. A gardener is trying to figure out where to plant their tomatoes at their site. They see that tomatoes need full sun to grow. Where should they plant their tomatoes at their site? And the answer to this would be in an area that receives 6 or more hours of sunlight a day, because remember, full sun is 6 or more hours. Plants that need full sun may thrive if placed in an area where they get direct light between the hours of 10 and 2. If you have a strong or severe prevailing wind pattern, you should place delicate plants in its path. This is false. Remember, we don't want delicate plants in the way of wind, otherwise they will die. If you have a strong prevailing wind pattern, you can blank to reduce or divert the wind. And the answer is A and B. So plant trees, shrubs, or other dense foliage. And you can also put up structures like fences, walls, or buildings. Variables are factors that may or may not affect your site. What are some examples of variables? And actually all of these are examples of variables. So utilities, shallow soil, wet sites, salt, legal considerations, and animals. These are all things that could affect someone's site. So you should have checked all. Soil is the medium that plants grow in, and it consists of, and this is also another check I'll apply. You should have selected air, moisture, minerals, organic matter, and microorganisms. The only one that is not true here would be metal. The ideal garden soil is one that best suits the needs of your plant, one that has loamy texture, one with good granular structure, and one that has plenty of organic matter. So these top 4 here would be the correct answers. The only one that's not correct is one that is sandy. Remember, if we have sandy soil, water just goes right through it. If your soil composition is out of proportion for loam, you can compensate for this by adding various soil amendments to help improve soil structure. And the answer is true. Why are gardeners usually only concerned with the top 6 to 10 inches of soil? And it is because they're feeding roots close to the surface where most of the moisture and nutrients are. So any deeper than that, and the plant's roots don't go any further. And this was a fill in the blank. It says, whenever practical, you should use blank plants because they're adapted to their regions, making them suited to the adverse conditions in your area. You may also find that they require less maintenance than other plants and attract native wildlife as well. This would be native. This is the description for a native plant. Why should a gardener test their soil pH? And the answer to this is so that they know what nutrients are available to their plants. And finally, how can a gardener test the pH of their soil? They can actually do 2 different things. They can use an indicator test, and they can also send it to a lab to be tested. These 2 up here are referring to the texture test, not the pH test. Okay, so that covers the quiz. Give me just 1 second. Okay, so what you're doing today is we're starting module 2. So you're going to go to where it says module 2 selection, journal entry number 12. This is a short activity because it's just the introduction to the unit, just like the first activity for module 1 was on site. So you'll open this up, it'll force you to make a copy. So once you've made the copy, you're just going to follow the directions per usual. You'll click there for the lesson, watch the video, read the article, and then complete the activity below. Okay. The questions I'll read to you now. Oops. Number 1 is, what will a good plant label tell you? Number 2, look at the label example for the plant Geranium sanguineum. Would we be able to plant that here in our zone? How do you know? And recall for this question, our zone is zone 10, which we just went over. Number 3, what 2 groups can most plants be characterized by? And number 4, what other ways can plants be listed based on their special characteristics? Okay, so I want to remind you because some people came in late. If you're ready to start, you can go ahead and go to Google Classroom. But for those of you that came in late, I have a couple of things to mention. Some new ways that we're doing things per the district.